You're tuned in to Floridian Rollo. I'm your host, Floridian Rollo, and I'm coming at you with another live stream. The Ibarrazzi versus the Republicans. They're going back and forth. So I'm waiting for more people to enter into the building. I'm waiting for more people to enter into the building. Make sure you double tap the like button on your way in. Double tap the like button on your way in. I'm waiting for more people to enter into the building. So I'm waiting for more people to enter into the building. Right now, it's saying no one is entering in the building. The people are not getting the notifications, it seems like. For whatever various reasons, people are not getting the notifications. I'm waiting for the notifications to go out. So without further ado, let's play this clip.
Just for food assistance at the end of the week.
Emotions flaring on the Senate floor.
This isn't a political game. These are real people's lives that we're talking about.
Nearly a month into the government shutdown.
People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times.
When you hold power, when you're in the majority, you meet people. You pull them in.
Republicans and Democrats sparring over a Dem push to fund nutrition programs like WIC and SNAP after the Department of Agriculture said it would not reach into a contingency fund to extend the benefits.
Never before, under any president, Democrat or Republican, has SNAP been cut off in a shutdown. And
you seem like you happy about that. Chuck Schumacher, you so happy about this because you don't care about the people. You care about your pockets.
Trump knows he can do it.
The two sides remain at odds, with the Democrats wanting to extend health care subsidies, Republicans arguing that should happen after the government is reopened. It's coming to a head amid major deadlines. Troops are due to be paid Friday. Saturday, health care premiums are set to increase when open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act begins. The same day, food stamp benefits are set to expire. As family farms, restaurants, and food banks work to try and fill the gap,
we are preparing for November to be our busiest month ever.
Experts warn it will not be enough.
It's also at an entirely different scale. So for every meal that a food bank provides, SNAP is providing 9.
A dire realization as the nation approaches that dangerous cliff. Jared Hill, CBS News.
It goes to show you how diabolical these Democrats, these Ibarazzis don't care for the common people. They just want money in their pockets. They're still getting paid at the end of the day. They're going to go home to a nice warm place. Do you know part of the shutdown in these Ibarazzi states that they could shut off your heater, the boiler heater? They could shut it off because the heater companies, they work for the government. Certain heater establishment work for the government, particularly housing works for the government. Don't be surprised for the folks that's on Section 8, if they're not getting no money, that they turn off your lights, your electricity, and you don't have no lights and electricity on. You may stay in a place, you won't have no place to warm up. This is what they're not telling you. That's another thing. Shout out to Big Bro Brainwaves. He talked about the Section 8 situation. I'm just adding on to what he didn't get into that could happen because the boiling, the housing authority works for the government, particularly in New York City. Certain Section 8 vouchers in certain buildings in these private sectors work for the government. They get the funding. So people may not be, Lord forbid, without heat, without water on. If they're not getting funded from these, because see, the Ibarazzi want to take care of everybody. They lying about taking care of the American people. They lying. And they want to get more money from the administration. And I told y'all that a lot of these cities in the northern states are not getting funded. Even the Ibaracis is telling you they're not getting no funded because I told the truth. And a lot of people hate me for telling the truth, being observant, being articulated, people lying on my name, slandering me. And now it may get to the point, Lord forbid, that we're talking about school necessity. We're not even talking about the heat and water might be turned off if these people ain't getting paid funded by the government. That's why I'm saying this is deeper than rap. Let's continue.
Well, the administration is expected to cover military pay again tomorrow. Locally, we've been getting word from several groups that are setting up food banks for anyone affected by the shutdown. You can find a list of food banks around our area on our website, or just text the word food to 479-785-5000 and we'll send you a list. Well, happening now in Northwest Arkansas, the U.S. Postal Service is looking for people who need a job. This is video from a job fair this morning, and a second one started minutes ago.
Well, there's opportunities for those who's looking for work. The United States Postal Service is looking for people to work. They have a shortage staff right now. A lot of people are leaving the Postal Service. Either did they put their time in. Some people leaving early than usual. They're looking for people at the United States Postal Service. So if you want to keep your stamps, you want to work at 20 hours, here's one opportunity. Let's go.
At the Fayetteville Post Office on Dixon Street. It wraps up at 2 this afternoon. USPS says that it pays more than $20 an hour and provides benefits and room to grow within the organization. You can head to our website for more information. Well, President Trump is on his way back to Washington hours after his high-stakes meeting with the Chinese president. The president described the nearly 2-hour-long meeting as friendly and announced that the two leaders could be close to signing a trade deal after reaching an understanding on multiple outstanding issues. President Trump says that he plans to go to China in April of next year. Ahead of the meeting, the president also announced plans to ramp up U.S. nuclear weapons testing.
I think we're going to have a fantastic relationship for a long period of time. I see them testing. I say, well, if they're going to test, I guess we have to test. I'd like to see a denuclearization.
President Trump overnight repeated his interest in meeting with North Korea's leader, saying that a busy schedule prevented it during this trip. The president also told reporters that he and the Chinese president have agreed to work together to try and end Russia's war on Ukraine. More attacks from Russia in southeast Ukraine have hurt more than a dozen people, including 6.
All right, let's get to the next one because they're talking about what's going on over there. There's a lot of stuff going on overseas. This is not the title of the video. Oh, yeah. Let's get to this one here. Let's listen to what President J.D. Vance have to say. My heart and prayers go out to the people overseas dealing with a lot of stuff, dealing with a lot of adversity. However, that's not the title of the video at hand. We're talking about the Democrats versus the Republicans, the Ibaracis disrespecting the people here in America. Okay, let's get right to it. I see C. Rob in the building, Brainwaves in the building, Mrs. Eldridge. How you doing? Tell Mr. Eldridge I say hello. All right, let's get right to it, y'all. Let's go.
Little roundtable with leaders in the aviation industry. We've got leaders of labor represented. We've got leaders of the businesses that are, of course, making the airline industry run. And I just wanted to hear from people about the stresses of the aviation industry in light of the fact of the shutdown. And here's what I found out. It actually worries me a great deal because I think that as much as delays have gotten worse over the last couple of weeks, everybody here is very worried that we're going to see more delays, more stresses on the people who are actually making the aviation system run, and more problems for both the consumers but also the great workers who actually make this incredible shining jewel of the American economy actually work and work on time and work.
If they do not get down to business within a week or two, the airline industry will be shut down. Schools will be shut down. That's right. I know Brother Brainwaves is in the building. Because if the airline industry shut down, that's going to ricochet to the schools and other things going to be added on, because now, it's going to be too much. It's going to be a ricochet for the most part for most people. So if this thing continues and the airline industry close, the Section 8 people are not getting paid to keep things going, then people are going to be out of heat and no water running in these housing public governing places. Man, this might happen, may not happen. We'll see. I'd say give it 2 weeks. We'll find out. Let's go.
Work safely. Here are the things that I worry about. I worry about the people who are scanning our bags and making us get through the security line. I worry they're not getting paychecks. They're starting to get worried about how to feed their families and how to pay school tuition and everything else.
Oh, there's the confirmation. There's the confirmation about school. There it is. President Vance just confirmed, and I did not listen to this video. May the Lord strike me right now on the live stream. He just mentioned the school. Let me rewind it back. Let me rewind this back. Listen.
But also the great workers who actually make this incredible shining jewel of the American economy actually work and work on time and work safely. Here are the things that I worry about. I worry about the people who are scanning our bags and making us get through the security line. I worry they're not getting paychecks. They're starting to get worried about how to feed their families and how to pay school tuition and everything else. I worry about the pilots who haven't gotten paid in a long time. I worry about the air traffic controllers who, of course, make this entire system extra safe. I worry about them, more worried about their credit card bill than they should be because they're not getting a paycheck because Democrats refuse to open the government. Now, I understand that a lot of Americans are sick of partisanship in Washington, D.C. Trust me, I've been here for 9 months in this job.
I'm glad J.D. Vance is saying that. He's saying that the people are tired of the bipartisan BS at the congressional hearing and all this. Brainwave says, I know the schools are good as a whole. Only low attended schools will close. Not all schools. That won't happen unless the world shuts down. I already deeply look at that working in the schools. Got you. Appreciate that information, Brainwaves. Appreciate that information, fam. J.D. Vance is saying, look, we know a lot of people is tired of us. Let's continue.
I am sick of partisanship in Washington, D.C., but this is very, very simple. Every partisan dispute, every policy disagreement, all of these things we can talk about, we can reason through, we can disagree, we can shake hands and compromise on some of those issues, hopefully, but this is something that every single American, Democrat or Republican or Independent, should be able to agree on. Open the government. Stop this craziness and open the government. It's causing way too many problems, and some of the folks behind me are the people who are dealing with the problems. Now, let's just recap exactly what's happened politically in this town.
Before he gets to what he has to say, Brainwave said they already been closing low attendance schools before the shutdown. Correct. If everyone loses their jobs and homes, then schools could close as a whole. That's true. That's true. Like the scripture says, if two witnesses speak on the same subject, there's agreement upon it. And I'm just paraphrasing. All right, let's continue.
Related to the government shutdown, we have had now multiple votes to reopen the United States government. The House of Representatives has voted affirmatively to reopen the United States government. 52 Republicans and 3 Democrats consistently vote to reopen the United States government, but we need 60 votes. So all we need to end the craziness, to pay the air traffic controllers, to pay the TSA agents, to pay the pilots, to make sure that food stamp benefits continue to go out to the American people who need them. All we need is 5 reasonable Democrats to join 3 moderate Democrats and 52 Republicans to reopen the government. I want to let Sean Duffy say something, but before I do, I just want to say to any Democrat in the United States Senate, we are happy to talk about any policy issue. We're happy to talk about healthcare policy. We're happy to talk about tax policy. We're happy to talk about regulatory policy, but not at the point of a gun. You do not get to take the American people's government hostage and then demand that we give you everything you want in order to pay our air traffic controllers. It's a ridiculous set of demands. Let's reopen the government, and then let's sit down and talk about how to compromise on policy for the American people. Sean?
Excellent point, JD Vance. And see, a lot of people is tired of the nonsense, tired of the childishness, especially with these Liberace places. They want the money. They have to do right by the people. And you must do right by the people for the people. If you want your city to thrive, you have to do right. Otherwise, there's consequences. And see, everybody's getting affected to an extent, depending on who you talk to. Yet these blue Liberace cities is getting more hurt. It's hitting hard in these blue cities. And now they're going to have to spend whatever they get from the taxpayer to cover the cost for the people, because Trump and the administration is not sending money to these cities, to these places, because they want to continue to sin. If you want to sin, you have to deal with your consequences of your sin. People are tired of the nonsense, the games.
Appreciate it, Mr. Vice President. So first, I want to thank you for calling this meeting of the aviation industry. We have a great coalition, bipartisan coalition, and so thank you for that. I just want to tell you, we look at the aviation system, and we've seen blips and blurbs, whether it's LAX or it's Atlanta or it's Dallas.
LAX, which is Los Angeles, Dallas, Texas, where I've been to, in Atlanta, Georgia, where I've been to. I've been to Los Angeles a while back, a few years ago. All right, let's continue.
You're seeing impacts of this shutdown on our airspace, and that means travelers are delayed, travelers are canceled. It has real problems. So our air traffic controllers, their first paycheck they missed, well, they got 90%, 80% of the paycheck. That was in early October. They just missed their full paycheck. And you got to think, well, then the second paycheck comes. That's not when we have real disruption. Because every single day, as all of you people know, as we all pay our bills, right, it's not just the mortgage and the car payment, which is very real, but they're buying food. They travel 30, 45 minutes into the towers or the centers. So you got.
There you go. That's true. You got to think about bills, your car, traveling to your location, 30, 45 minutes from where you stay at. In most cases, could be longer than that. And then you spending time making sure everybody's getting from point A to point B. That's not easy to do. You got to have the right mindset. You have to have a clear mind. And then you got to remember, some of these people have family. They got wives. They got kids. They barely see them because they're putting more time into the work than at the home to make sure their family good. And now they're at home not knowing what to do. Some of them is doing Uber. Some of them is doing DoorDash. Some of them is doing Amazon Flex. They're doing what they need to do to make up for whatever they're not getting for the time being. And the Liberaces don't care. We need to ban them from the airport. Let them figure out how to get from point A to point B. All right, let's continue.
To buy gas. They have kids that want to play football or volleyball or tennis, and they can't afford the very life expenses that they need those paychecks for. And so, though we've maintained the safety, I'm grateful for our controllers who are coming in every day. But I do think as this shutdown continues, you're going to see more pressure on controllers, more pressure on TSA workers, and that's going to have
not only for the air traffic controllers, these hospitals is going to be overbearing. These supermarkets is going to be overbearing. People are crashing out. in taking matters into their own hand, which I don't agree with, yet it's going on for the most part. And so people are not going to think clearly when they know there's no money coming in their pocket. They don't know when they're going to be their next meal. Not for themselves, for their kids, their wives, you know. So, hey, they realizing, like Vance said, people don't trust them. We got to put our trust in the Most High through Christ. More importantly, y'all, that's the most important thing. We got to put our trust in the Most High through Christ. And things may not come, you know, like it's supposed to. You know, shout out to my lady. Shout out to the fellas, Brainwaves and his wife, Ringo and his wife. Shout out to my lady. Shout out to those who doing what they're supposed to do as a man, making sure you're taking care of your kids. If you don't have kids, you're just dealing with your lady. You know, you're doing what you got to do to the best of your ability. And so, like Brainwave said, this absolutely affects everyone. Yet blue states are really hurting, not the red states. Exactly. Let's continue.
Real impact. One group that we don't talk about a lot is we have technicians that work in our centers. I've talked to you all about how old our equipment is. We have technicians that come in every single day to make sure this equipment actually works. They too aren't getting paid. And this is burning, and it's having a real impact on our men and women who serve our airspace. And so I would join the Vice President and say, don't hold us hostage. Don't hold American families' travel hostage. Don't hold air traffic controllers hostage. Open up the government, have a conversation, let's get it resolved. But again, every day it gets harder. Every day there's gonna be more challenges. And the last point I'll make before I turn it over to Sean O'Brien's really great hair day today, is the fact that a lot of our people can go through the miss of one paycheck, and it's hard for them, but a lot of them can get through it. None of them can get through 2 paychecks.
Did you hear that? It's one thing you go through it with one. It kind of hits you. After 2, nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to hear that. Let's continue.
And so, again, if Democrats don't get their act together very quickly, you're going to see huge problems. And again, I would come to them with a clean heart and say, open up the government, and then let's have a conversation. I'll give it to the Teamster, Sean O'Brien.
Thank you very much, Secretary Duffy. Thank you, Vice President Vance. Look, the bottom line, and we took a position, I represent 1.3 million working men and women in this country for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. We took a position 3 weeks ago. Pass a clean CR, get to the table, negotiate a deal. Do not put working people in the middle of a problem they should not be in there. And we got to think about the families that are going to be affected. Think about when you have to tell your son or daughter they can't play sports because you're not getting paid. Think about when you can't pay your mortgage. Think about when you can't pay your tuition. Put the politics aside, get to the table, negotiate a deal, pass a clean CR right now, and then figure out the problems moving forward. And I want to thank the air traffic controllers. I want to thank the aviation administration for all their hard work and sacrifice they make. And look, security and safety of the airlines is paramount. Let's not compromise the safety and security. Pass a clean CR. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
And the Ibarracis is busy partying and arguing in the streets about what the Republicans ain't doing. When you do your investigation, the Republicans is working twice as hard as the Ibarracis are. They busy partying, doing all other nonsense and blowhorning instead of get and make a deal and get this thing going, get the ball rolling, and figure things out. Let's continue.
Great. Anybody else? Come on. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Secretary Duffy. Thank you all for being here with us today. And I want to start by really thanking the professionals, the air traffic controllers, the folks at the TSA, also the FAA, the people in management. They're working hard. They are keeping the skies safe. They've minimized delays. Fewer than 2% of flights have been delayed so far because of air traffic control shortage. So they've done a great job. But it's putting stress on people. It's not fair to those people. It's also putting stress on the economy. You know, the first couple of weeks this had no impact on the economy, but as every day goes by, the impacts start to grow. And airlines are a pretty good real-time indicator of the economy, and we start to see still minor, but steep booking impact, and you see that happening in the economy. We put the whole economy at risk. And so,
I mean, that's obvious. That's obvious. That's obvious that this is going on. A lot of people, I would say, do not fly, especially if you're going overseas. If you're going overseas, make sure you got your stuff together, because, you know, you may not come back. If things get shut down, these are the things you have to, you know, consider. If you go on across state lines, my best advice is to drive. Drive to point A to point B. You may have to consider that, because this might go on a little bit longer than we expected. We know the Most High makes the final decision. We know that through Christ. You know, we could speculate it could be back to normal before the 1st, or they might change their mind tomorrow. All we know is that, like Brainwave's talking about, it's a break up, shake up, make up, wake up. There's a lot of things breaking up. There's a lot of things waking up, shaking up, and making up. And also, they're trying to destiny swap. We talk about destiny swap when it comes to us. These Ibaracis is trying to destiny swap as well. So we got to be mindful of that. We got to be mindful of these entities, of what they got going on. Let's go. And deities, the woman.
it's been 30 days, and while I don't have a position on which partisan side and how things should be settled with healthcare, it has been 30 days. I also think it is time to pass a clean CR. Use that as the opportunity to get into a room behind closed doors and negotiate hard on the real and substantive issues that the American people want our politicians on both sides of the aisle to solve. But let's get a clean CR and get that negotiation done behind closed doors without the pressure and without putting the American workers and the American economy at risk.
You're great. Okay, guys, we'll take a few questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Vice President. Mary Barrett with Daily Wire. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of this really tragic plane crash in D.C. Should Americans be afraid to fly while the shutdown continues?
No, I don't think Americans should be afraid to fly, because we've got great airline professionals who are keeping the safest aviation industry in the world afloat, but they're doing it with incredible stress. What I worry more about is that if you have, let's say, a pilot who's now missed 2 paychecks, who's now telling his kids that they can't do things that they'd like to do, who's now worried about feeding his family, maybe that guy doesn't show up to work, maybe he goes and gets a different job. That means greater delays for the American people. I worry about the air traffic controller who now has missed 2 paychecks, who's got to pay his credit card bill or his mortgage, but can't pay both, and decides, you know what, this industry is not for me. The Secretary of Transportation made a great point in private. I'm going to steal it right now, because we got to get people into the air traffic control industry. We had a shortage of 2,000 people. How many of those people look to the future, see the congressional Democrats can't get their act together, and say, you know what, we're not going to join air traffic controlling at all, which is going to further extend the delays. I think.
Did you hear that part? So they're already shortage of 2,000 people, because remember, there's no more DEI. You can't use DEI to get in there, and you're not qualified. So they had to remove a lot of people from DEI, men, women, that were not qualified to do the work. So now they're looking for people that could do the work. And with this situation going on, it may prolong. People may have a second thought about getting into it because of the Ibaracis. Now, you got somebody coming in here says red states have the most people on assistance. Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that? If a lot of people moving from the blue states to the red states, of course there's going to be more people on it. Come on now. You're coming in here with the nonsense. You're coming in here with the nonsense. Y'all can't see who I'm talking to because the person is in the background. Now they're in the chat. Okay, Mississippi's top 5. Missouri is top 5. Okay. And what's your point? And what's your point? State your point. Let's continue.
That we have a safe system because these guys are doing heroic things in the midst of this terrible shutdown. But why do we ask them to do so much without getting paid? Why don't we pay them so that they can be happy, they can do the best job they can do, and they're not worried about feeding their families while they're doing a very important job for all of us?
Mr. Vice President,
Yeah.
could you let us know your understanding of the president's comments that he wants to resume nuclear testing after more than 30 years? Does he mean the warheads themselves, the distribution, the missiles, and so forth? What's your understanding of his intention?
Well, look, I'll answer that very briefly, but I really do want to focus on the shutdown that is affecting the American people. I think the president's truth speaks for itself. We have a big arsenal, obviously. The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly. We've been working very closely, even with nations that we don't have the best relations with, to try to limit nuclear proliferation. The president's going to keep on working on that, but it's an important part of American national security to make sure that this nuclear arsenal we have actually functions properly, and that's part of a testing regime. To be clear, we know that it does work properly, but you got to keep on top of it over time, and the president just wants to make sure that we do that.
Okay, so we know that they're going to test out certain things. Now, this person said, point is, Trump can use emergency funds right now without Congress. He said no. Well, first and foremost, the money is supposedly going to the taxpayers. We're supposed to get the most $2,000 in our bank account. So, and then we paying off our debt. Why should we be more in debt? Why should we be in more debt? We're trying to pay off our debt what we owe to other countries. We're trying to get back on a plus side of things. We can't continue to be spending money recklessly and keep on putting ourselves in debt to other people. We have to pay off our debt. That's even in the Bible. The Bible tells you we must pay off our debt. That's in the scriptures. We must pay off our debt. That's scripture. That's biblical. And they're doing the biblical thing. They're paying off whoever they owe. And they're giving back to the people that's supposed to get back their money. That's how it's supposed to be. See, you're a person that don't understand and overstand business. You're just talking out your mouth. That's what these paparazzi's do. They love to talk. Now, that's a lie. That's a lie. How is Trump adding more debt when we start to see surpluses? What are you talking about? We're seeing more surpluses than ever before. What are you talking about? Brainwave said those emergency funds are already allocated for disaster relief. Thank you. You can't just move the money just because it's there. Y'all don't understand accounting and how you can't just use money like that. Exactly. Now, this person talking about Bible says forgive people of their debt. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what that means? Forgive people of their debt. That's talking about the people that they don't expect anything in return. That's not talking about people that like to use you. There's people that like to use you and don't want to pay you back. See, you forgive people of their debt that you took care of them. Don't expect anything from return from them. What are you talking about? You're not making sense. You're not making sense. You reading. See, you're not used to this. You're not used to this work. The only time you forgive somebody of their debt, if they've gone through it, they lost a lost one, that person went through a lot, you forgive them for their debt. The Bible tells us to pay for our debt. You don't understand the law of the land. You don't understand the law of the land. You might be one of those people that love to live off people. You might be one of those that love to live off people. Let's continue.
Kelly Meyer with News Nation. Hi, Adams and Pilots. Thank you for what you're doing to keep this guy safe. I wanted to ask you, I know you said that you're going to talk with folks on Capitol Hill after they open the government back up. If this keeps going on, would you consider getting everyone together like you did before the shutdown here at the White House to talk? And just quickly on nuclear, does the new testing make the world less safe?
So I'm not going to answer. I've answered all the questions about nuclear testing that I'm going to answer. I want to talk about the government shutdown here, and I'd like to focus the questions there. But to your point, look, I've never said we're not going to talk to congressional.
Do you want to get roasted? Do you want to get roasted? Go read the book of Brainwaves. Get that scripture in the chat if you got time, fam. Were we supposed to obey the law, the laws of the land? This person talking about the law of the man does not come before God's law. That's even, oh my gosh. I'm telling you, this is. I'm not going to entertain you. I'm not going to entertain this demon. I'm not going to entertain this demon. I'm not going to give you no more energy. You just wasting your time being in the chat. You're exposing yourself. You're looking for attention. You were sent to try to derail the conversation because you want to live free. You one of those type of people that love to live free off of people. That's what you come in here for. When Christ says, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Oh my goodness, I tell you. This person don't like America. We got a person in the chat that don't like America. Listen, there's a plane leaving right now. If you don't like what's going on here, there's a plane leaving right now. You could go to any other country, and I guarantee you, your behind will be crying to come back to America. All right, let's continue.
Democrats until they reopen the government. What I've said is we are not going to give in on policy demands under the threat of hostage taking. I mean, if any moderate Democrat or any Democrat period from the United States Senate wants to come over, they're welcome to walk into these doors in an hour. I'm happy to talk to them about how to end the government shutdown, but it's actually very simple because there's a clean CR, as you heard from everybody, that would reopen the government. What we're also saying is that we're not going to allow anybody, Democrat or Republican, to effectively threaten any policy demand and to place that upon reopening the government. You don't reward hostage taking. If Democrats want to talk about healthcare policy, let's talk about healthcare policy. If they want to talk about tax policy, let's talk about tax policy. They don't get to come in here and say, you give us everything we want or we're going to shut down the government and not.
Yeah, exactly. Don't budge into what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, then the devil wants more and more and more. The devil's never satisfied. That's who they represent, the devil. The house of devils.
Pay our pilots and not pay our air traffic controllers. It's ridiculous, disgraceful, irresponsible behavior. There have got to be 5 more moderate Democrats in this entire city who are willing to work with us to reopen the government.
Mr. Vice President, on the issue of the shutdown, there is the concern about 42 million people losing their SNAP benefits.
Of course.
Over this weekend. The administration has moved a lot of money around to pay troops, to pay federal law enforcement, and is telling Congress he can't move money around to pay at least some of those benefits. Why not? And would there be some push perhaps in the next 48 hours to try to do that so Americans don't go hungry?
Well, here's the problem. If you go back to previous government shutdowns, what has happened is that sometimes the president has tried to make the shutdown as painful as possible on the American people. I give the president of the United States great credit and the entire team for trying to make this as painless as possible. The Democrats are acting irresponsibly. He doesn't want the American people to suffer because of it. But look, right now, this government, this administration, we're like guys running around, with a leak in a damn wall, trying to plug it with bubble gum. And we plug one spot with bubble gum, and we plug another spot with bubble gum, and we plug another spot with bubble gum. Why don't the Democrats just stop this entire charade and reopen the government so that we don't have to try to make this thing work on a shoestring budget, which is what we're trying to do. The unfortunate reality, and we're starting to see this with our aviation industry, we're going to find out the hard way with SNAP benefits. The American people are already suffering, and the suffering is going to get a lot worse. Not because the President of the United States has failed to make the shutdown painless. He's tried to do everything that he can to make it as unpainless as possible. The reason that pain is coming and the reason it's building is because we're not passing the clean bill to reopen the government. It's a very easy thing to do. So you're not...
They don't want to see winning. They love losing. This person is still worrying about this. This is how I know this person is not normal. This is not a normal person. This person is worrying about 38 trillion. Do you not understand that we're taking care of our debt? You know who's in more debt? It's not the red states, it's the blue states. The blue states keep adding on to the deficit. The red states are thriving. So why you keep bringing up a number when we know under the former administration, he gave more money to people that's not from this country than those who's in this country? I tell you, these people, man, they mind gone. These Ibaracis be in my chat beat. They just don't have. They have no love for God and Christ. They love evil. I bet you the same person protects sinners too. That be in my chat.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I'm Monica Page with Frontlines Turning Point USA. On the government shutdown, of course, we're approaching Thanksgiving, we're approaching the holidays. What could travel look like, if the Democrats don't open the government in time?
So I'm going to let our great Secretary of Transportation answer this question. Look, it could be a disaster. It really could be. Because at that point, you're talking about people have missed 3 paychecks. They've missed 4 paychecks. How many of them are not going to show up for work? You take the TSA lines that are already too long, even right now, and say half of those people don't show up for work, not because they're not hard workers or good people, but because they've got to find a different job to feed their families. What happens when the security lines are not an hour long, but they're 4 hours long? What happens when pilots start not showing up for work because they're so focused on paying the bills, they can't fly the plane safely?
And that's what's going on. And that's what's going on. J.D. Vance is correct. Now this person is complaining. This person saying that I hate him. No, you hate the truth. I don't hate you. You hate the truth. You coming in here being gibberish with the nonsense. I don't hate you. You hate the truth. And salute to Federal Studio. You hate the truth. What did I say was wrong? You're saying that the blue states help out what? Whoa, how California help out the red states when California is the most in deficit? How can California help out the red states when your state is already in trouble? What are you talking about? You just a fool. You a fool. How can California help the red states? And California has the largest deficit in America right now. You got the most people that's living in the streets on your watch, on your state. On your state, you have the most people living in the streets. You don't want to go there with me. You got the highest gas. You got taxes galore. Gangs, thugs, degenerates in California. Let's continue.
It's going to lead to massive delays. We want people to be able to get home for Thanksgiving. We want people to be able to travel for business, to make this entire engine of commerce work. We want the aviation industry to work. It's not going to work unless the Democrats reopen the government. These guys are doing heroic things, to make it work as well as it possibly can. But every single person that I talk to a word, they are worried that the delays are going to reach a point where it makes it very, very hard for the American people to fly. Sean.
And you heard what J.D. Vance said. It's going to get to a point that it's going to be hard for American people to fly. This is why I say, if it prolongs, the best advice I could give you is to rent a vehicle and go to your destination. If you're going overseas, make sure you have certain money, emergency funds, just in case you may not come back to America anytime soon. These are the things you have to think about. Let's continue.
To answer your question, our traffic will be snarled, right? It'll be a disaster in aviation. And just, I'm going to steal, you stole my point, I'll steal one from Scott Kirby from United. October is a slower air travel month, and we have great weather in October. And so you've seen minimal disruption because of good weather and slower travel. But as we go into November, travel picks up as people start to look at going to see their families, kids come home.
And a lot of people want to leave the northern states to come to the southern states during that time of season. Now, what is that person at? What's that demon at now? What's that demon at that was in the chat? Why is they giving driving licenses to illegal aliens? You just had another big accident in California. And then on top of that, wherever that fool at, that demon, that deity entity, whoever he is or whoever she is, they're giving out licenses for free in the DMV to the people that's not even from here, causing a lot of friction on the road. If California is so great, why a lot of people leaving California? Ooh. If California is so great, why a lot of people leaving California? Where that person at? That person decided to leave the chat now all of a sudden? That person had all the smoke for me. Now we're going to get right to it. If California is so great, why a lot of people leaving California? Why a lot of people trying to get out of California right now? Even the ones with money leaving California. Let's continue.
From college, and if you don't have air traffic controllers who are being paid, they may want to stay on the job, but they cannot. They're going to have to go take a second job, and you're going to have mass issues throughout the airspace. People will not be able to go from one place to the other because of the government shutdown, and I hope Democrats don't take it to that point.
Great. Yeah.
I mean, we can't be begging. We can't be begging these Democrats, these Ibarracis to do right. They don't care for us. Listen, you can't listen. I could judge you because you're in my chat with the foolishness. I'm letting everybody see how much of a fool you are, how much of an oxymoron you are. You can't even answer a simple question. Why is it California so great and you got this so-called better deficit? Why are they giving driver's licenses to illegal migrants? And why is a lot of people leaving California? People with money leaving California. Can't even answer that question. Because you're a demon. You're a demon. You is a Ibarraci demon who want to see people at a low tier. Love sin.
From ABC News. I'm curious, as we move into this holiday travel season, is the administration working on a plan to keep airports running smoothly? The other thing that I wanted to ask you is we got 20 million Americans who are set to see their health care premiums skyrocket with those ACA tax credits expiring. I'm curious your response there. Is the administration working on a plan to expand them?
Why don't you take the question about what we're trying to do to try to limit the effects of the shutdown on aviation? I think Sean is a great person to address that, and then I'll address the health insurance premium question.
Yeah, so we're working closely with NATCA, our air traffic controllers union, our technicians who work to keep the equipment safe and operational. I know Christy's working with TSA, so we are doing all we can to partner with and talk to our government employees who make this system run smoothly. but we can only ask so much. And I as a guy who had a lot of kids and didn't make a lot of money early in my life, I know the pressure that these families are under. And by the way, think when these families go home, the fights that are had over the fact that you don't have money for basketball this season. The families.
Did you hear that part? They having fights. They using the talking point I talked about. There's people in the households having fights right now, trying to figure out where they're going to get this money. The man is telling the truth. There's people having fights, and the Ibarracis don't care. Let's continue.
Strife that happens because they don't have money coming in the door is very, very real. So we are doing all we can to work with our partners to keep things running smoothly. But in the end, we can only go so far. And if I could just, before I turn it over, I love that you guys are asking us questions about what we can do to make this less painful. There's an easy, painless solution. Pass a clean CR. And by the way, I think you all, I was part of some shutdowns myself in Congress, and the tone of the press corps is very, very different in this one. You were rabid against Republicans who voted not to open the government up, and it seems like everyone is so docile. And so, like, what is the president going to do to alleviate the pain? I'm out of the mall. Anyone can go see the World War II Museum. They can all go see the Vietnam Memorial. Again, we didn't close those down. This administration is doing everything they can to alleviate the pain on the American people. Go back to Barack Obama. He did everything he could to shut down parks and memorials across this city. And so, again, it's an easy answer. Go ask the Democrats that question. Say, what are you going to do to make sure that people get SNAP benefits this Saturday? Or they have health care assistance for their Obamacare? What are you going to do? Because we're doing everything we can on our end, but there's not much more we can do because the rules of the road by which we have to play. And so, again, I'm grateful for this team because they care about the American people. I just wonder, do the Democrats care the way we do? And if they do, open it up, sit down, and negotiate.
Hear, hear. That's a great point.
He's speaking his mind. He's speaking it real. He's keeping it real.
I want to answer the question about health insurance premiums because, look, we don't want the American people's health insurance premiums to go up. We're very worried about this. The president's been talking about this since before we even took office, that we're inheriting a healthcare system that has suffered some real problems under the Biden administration. Because of that, you're seeing health insurance premiums skyrocket. Now, here is our very simple proposal to the Democrats. Let's sit down and come to a compromise and work it out. And you know what the Democrats' response to that is? Give us everything we want, or we're going to shut down the government and keep it shut down. That is not reasonable behavior. That's not how you do compromise in this town. That is the way that the Democrats have operated. They are trying to take a hostage, and we can't reward that behavior. If we do that, if we say, yes, of course, we'll give you everything that you want if you reopen the government, you know what's going to happen? In 3 months, they're going to come back to the administration, and they're again going to say, we're going to shut down the aviation industry. We're going to deny people SNAP benefits unless you give us exactly what you want. That's how a child behaves.
I'm glad J.D. Vance said that. Because if you give them what they want, they're not going to be stopping. If you give them what they want, they're going to continue to ask for more and put you out. They want you in the street. They want you to starve. That's exactly what these Ibarracis is doing. Let me rewind it back again. Listen to that part. Listen.
That's not how you do compromise in this town. That is the way that the Democrats have operated. They are trying to take a hostage, and we can't reward that behavior. If we do that, if we say, yes, of course, we'll give you everything that you want if you reopen the government, you know what's going to happen? In 3 months, they're going to come back to the administration, and they're again going to say, we're going to shut down the aviation industry. We're going to deny people SNAP benefits unless you give us exactly what you want. That's how a child behaves. That is not how a responsible governing party behaves in the United States of America. And let me make one final point, and then we'll cut out of this press conference. Look, I've been a little bit unfair, and I want to correct this, because when I say the Democrats have shut down the government, it's actually the far left side of the Democratic Party, because to their great credit, 3 moderate Democrats joined 52 Senate Republicans to vote to reopen the government. We need 5 more reasonable Democrats to put the American people first and reopen the government. That's all that we're asking. Let's talk about health care policy. Let's make sure that we ensure that Americans' health insurance premiums don't go up. We want that, and we're willing to work with people for it, but they've got to reopen the government first. Sean came from a background not that dissimilar from mine. Sean O'Brien came from a background not that dissimilar from mine. There are moms and dads who are fighting right now because they're worried about not being able to pay the credit card bill and the mortgage bill. There are parents who have to look their kids in the eye and say, you know what, we're not going to do football this year. We're not going to do basketball this year because I can't pay for it because the federal government is shut down and I'm not getting a paycheck. Do we want those people who keep the aviation system running to not be able to feed their families, to not be able to pay for some of the things that make life worth living? The answer to that question is absolutely. We want them to be able to afford a good life. The only way for that to happen is to reopen the government. It'll be good for those who fly. It'll be good for those who work in the aviation industry. It'll be good for the whole country. Just do the common sense thing, Democrats. Reopen the government. We need 5 Senate Democrats to join us. I hope that they will. Thank you, guys.
All right. That's pretty much about that. That's pretty much about that. You know what? You know this clown talking about J.D. Vance has you deceived. How he has me deceived? How can he have me deceived? No, you deceived. If California is so great, why a lot of people leaving California? If California is so great, why a lot of people leaving California? Why a lot of people celebrating getting ready to get out of California? They celebrating. So let me ask you a question. You okay paying that $5, $6 gas? Or $4 gas? You okay paying that $4.55 gas? You don't mind the migrants being over your family? Some of these Ibarasi men, they so soft biscuit, they cupcaking, and they Liberasi women so miserable. Notice the conservative wives are happy. They got more pep in their step. They got more energy. You look at these Ibarasi women, they look so depressed, sad, miserable, because they were a miserable dude. He don't want to take care of his family. He wants to depend on the government. Somebody seem mad. Somebody seem mad because I'm going in on California. I'm going in on the truth. People with money being disrespected there in California. You got people that's making serious money in California being disrespected by you lowlives who want to just sit there and TT all day. The red states is doing way better than the blue states. Way better. Way better. You got people out here will figure it out and will not even go to California. They won't. They like, no, I'm staying where I'm at. I'm staying in this beautiful sunshine state. You can't pay me to go to California to be around you fools. You demons are mad. You upset. You emotional wreck. And you love to be at the bottom. You love being in the bottom. And in Southern California, it's at the bottom. I wouldn't be surprised this person live in Southern California, probably live in LA. Probably live in San Diego. He loved that governor of California. I'm telling you. These people love sin. Love sin. They love it. They love being in sin. I will open up the lines. You know what? I want to see if these no, because these Ibarasi gonna mess up my channel. I don't want no Ibarasis on my channel. Try to mess up my channel. It's monetized. I thought about it. I thought about opening up the lines. I said, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, Matt. Agree. Agree, Matt. Let me put that in the chat for everybody to see. Way better. Way, way, way better. Way better. So look, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning into the show. About to get on out of here. Shout out to my big bro Forever Studio, Brainwaves, Mrs. Eldridge for coming through, RZA. Shout out to all the mods that's not in the chat. Appreciate y'all. This is a good one. You know, you got these Ibarasis upset with me. We'll see what happens in due time. Y'all be safe out there. Y'all be careful, mindful, cognizant. If you got any content you want me to do, talk about, post it in the comment section. Let's flood the comment section. You know, appreciate those who like the video. I'm going to definitely highlight y'all in the next one. Yeah, take it easy and peace. Get that person out of there, moderator. Get that demon out of there. Let me see if I can let me see if the demon's in the chat. No, it's not in the chat. The person's not in the chat. I see it on the back end. Yeah. Appreciate y'all. I'll holler at y'all on the next one. You know, make sure y'all like the video. No, that person. No. It is what it is. That person is gone now. It was somebody else. It's all good. It's all good. It was somebody else I wanted to be blocked. Not that person. I want people to see that. Let me see if I can unblock that person. I want that person to be, hopefully, well, their comments is probably gone. Yeah, their comments is gone. It is what it is. Yeah, Demons Judge. Demons Judge. I'm a demon now. I brought you back in. You calling me a demon? Really? I'm a demon? Why I'm a demon? Tell me why I'm a demon. How come I'm a demon? Can you answer that? Why is I'm a demon? You want to come on the channel and have a conversation with me, Ibarasi? I am still here. I am still here. I am Liberace. I am still here. Look at this. Look at this person. Yo, do this Ibarasi ever help his own people in his own town? He thinking about we $38 trillion in debt. What a liar! As I am still here. You screaming for my attention, ain't you? You screaming for my attention. Don't you have a wife to go to, sir? Why is you embarrassing your wife and your family, sir? You falsely accuse me of what? Do you know I'm getting paid off of your foolishness. Do you know I'm getting paid? You watching me, you paying me. Well, how you paying me? You paying me by watching me. Now you're a marker too. Says the person that was mocking me earlier. Yet can't answer a simple question. We don't even know if this person is real, y'all. We don't even know if this person is real. Probably using a family avatar. As far as we know, this might be a person that may not have a family. May not even have a family at all. We are 38 trillion in debt. It only takes a minute to find out. Yeah, we dealing with a moron, y'all. We're dealing with a moron. We're dealing with a moron. We're dealing with a moron. Giving me money right now. Giving me all the airtime. He or whoever they want to be losing their mind. You are really upset. No, you need, moron, you need the Dems to pass the bill. Stop it. You're not educated. Oh my goodness, this person's not educated. Oh wow. He said that we could pass the bill without the Dems. Oh my gosh. Let's get a vote count. Do we have a Brokey in the chat? Brokey! Are you really Brokey? Are you using your lady's phone now? I'm starting to think you're using your lady's phone. You don't got a cell phone of your own. You don't sound like a confident man if you're a man or you're a woman, whatever you want to be, respectfully. You don't sound too confident. You ain't got no money. You in my chat. You assaulted my intelligence. I gave you airtime more than any other troll. At least the other trolls supported my platform. You putting out all these questions. That's not good behavior. It's not good behavior. Anyway, shout out to the mods. Shout out to those who's viewing. Shout out to those who support the platform where they can. I appreciate the support. I really, really appreciate the support on the Cash App, on the Venmo. Appreciate that support for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're going to get on out of here for real, for real. We're going to not entertain this person. This person want me to be on for hours entertaining them. They ain't got no money coming in. They're not supporting the platform. Damn, you liberaces are broke. Damn, y'all broke, man. You talking about the red states broke. Some of you dudes in the blue states are more broke than the dudes are in the red states. Brown royalty to the people. We the business. Matt. we can't have a conversation with these demons. Matt, they mad. They mad, Matt. They mad. Matt, they so mad. They have to get my attention. You know this person is losing a conversation when they can't even write carefully, point this stuff out so loudly. This is bad. This is bad. All right, y'all. Peace out.